So tomorrow is the 1st of August. And we all know that August brings on August 15th, which is squirrel season, my favorite time of year. So we have a pretty good nut crop this year. A lot of the trees that haven't had nuts in the past 4 or 5 years got nuts this year. So that means I get to reel back in the archives and remember those hunts on those trees. It's a true blessing to be able to hunt the same ground for a lifetime. And you get used to hunting areas, and you get used to bad habits, and you get in your comfort zone, and then nature will always show you that you're not the boss. Yeah, whether you're a hunter or whether you're a construction worker or anything, nature will show you that you're just very small. So I drug my trusty old 1947 Winchester rimfire target out. That's what I squirrel hunt with. And I bought the rifle several years ago and just kind of fell in love with it. I've had other rifles, the same brand, same model, same year, and for some reason that one just seems to do better for whatever reason. And confidence in your rifles or a shotgun or anything you pick up and go into the woods with, confidence is king. When you have a gun, whether it's and I'm not brand knocking here, but whenever, if it's a Harrington Richardson single barrel and game tends to die in front of it, then that's the gun you should take. You don't have to have a Pizzari shotgun or a Kimber rifle or any of these things. It's just not necessary. If that's what you're comfortable with and that's what you can afford, then great. But I will always be a advocate of woodsmanship over gear. Gear will take a certain amount of percentage off of your failures, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it is very limited in its percentage of success on the other end of it. Gear limits failures, but only if you have confidence in it. If you're one of these people, and sometimes it gets a little personal when you talk about these things and people get really upset, but if you're one of these people that run out and buy a gun, a brand new firearm, every year because you missed a deer with the last one last year, it's probably not the gun. I'm just going to say it. It's probably not the gun. It's probably you. You miss game. Machinery does not. A firearm is a mechanical piece of equipment, and it has an operator, and that is you, and you are holding that weapon or whatever it is. Whether it's I don't care if you're using a stone and an addle, it is equipment that is in your hands, or if you're using the latest Leupold laser guided juggernaut, whatever. It doesn't matter. Your equipment, if it works in your hands, that's what speaks. Then you don't have those problems. I tend to like equipment to work well. I have a lot of older stuff that I know works. Maybe there's better stuff out there. I think the scope that I have on this rifle was made in about 1978. Like I said, the rifle's in 1940 something. And I would put it, it's only limited by me, but if you were to take my rifle and let a target shooter who actually does it every day pick that rifle up, it would be comparable to a lot of very expensive rifles. But back then they actually built stuff, even the run-of-the-mill rifles and everything were built precision. Now we have plastic rifles with plastic barrels and all this stuff. And at the end of the day, it's whatever you choose. But be proficient with the weapon that you choose. If it doesn't fit, move it along, or put it in the back of the gun safe because it's got sentimental value. I've got guns that don't fit me that have sentimental value that I just don't get rid of because they belong to such and such or whatever. So when it comes to squirrel hunting, a lot of people hunt with dogs. They hunt in the fall when they get on the ground, but whenever you're hunting squirrels, when the leaves are on early season, it takes, I'm going to sound like I'm putting a feather in my hat, but it takes quite a bit of talent to go out there and religiously kill squirrels. You'll have good days, you'll have bad days, but typically the bad days are for your own manufacturer. You got to hunt the wind sometimes, especially when you hunt in the same group of squirrels all the time. They will get wise. They're just like any other animal. And when you're hunting wild squirrels, and I do mean wild squirrels that have been hunted hard, there is not a more challenging thing than to go out and kill your limit of squirrels, which here in Indiana is 5 squirrels, which I don't really understand because no one's got enough energy to squirrel hunt anymore. I don't know why the limit isn't higher, but it is what it is. So squirrel hunting takes time and patience and drive, and it's something I've done since, I think the first time I ever went squirrel hunting with my dad, I was probably about 6 or 7 maybe, and I was hooked. He and I have different styles of squirrel hunting. We couldn't, and that's, if you're raising a kid up squirrel hunting, you can only take them so far. Once they start killing game with you, then you need to wait for them to be old enough to have a gun by themselves, obviously. And then you need to let them go make their own mistakes, and then hunt with them every now and then, like maybe every other day or something like that. And they'll start learning then, because on the days that they're not out there and they're not seeing animals, there's a reason why. And you also have to have a kid that will own their mistakes, which isn't popular nowadays because, everybody's something now. That's just the world we live in, and it's not going to change. No one's at fault anymore. And if any of you know my son, you can ask him. There were times where I said, "Hey, you jacked it up," and it's your fault. You got to own it. And he didn't like it, but he learned a lot. Looking back now, he's in his 20s, and he looks back and remembers a lot of the lessons better now than he did, when they were being taught. So don't give up on a kid. It's aggravating trying to teach a kid. It's unproductive trying to teach a kid. And but it's time that you will never miss. You will never miss that time with that kid. And as I said before, you don't have to hunt. You can just be in the woods teaching them about plants and animals and all these things. There's so much other stuff to do out in the woods rather than just take. We got too many takers in this world. We need to have a few people put something back. And as much as I take, I try to give back to the woods. I try to plant trees. I try to, pay it forward, so to speak. Now, maybe that's just me trying to justify it in my head. I don't know. But I'm getting on, going to be 50 here before too long. So the trees I plant now are not for me. They're for my grandkids. They're for my kids to enjoy. And that goes a lot further than just trees. So if you're teaching your grandkids how to hunt, you're not just teaching your grandkids how to hunt. You're teaching your great grandkids how to hunt long after you're gone. And it sounds a little morbid, but at the same time, you got to pass it on. And if you're not passing on what you know, and you're busy golfing, or you're busy, you're busy killing big bucks and stuff like that, and you're not taking your kids hunting, then you're missing out. So, like most of my videos, they turn into some kind of sermon that people probably don't want to hear anyway, but it is what it is. Don't watch it if you don't like it. It's that simple. But I did make a couple groups today. First time I picked a rifle up in a few months. We've been busy doing other things, and believe it or not, I do get busy doing things other than hunting or fishing. It's sad, but it's the world we live in. So, first thing, be careful when you're out with your kids. When you first start taking them hunting and stuff, it's not about getting a game. It's about not getting a gun pointed at you while you're walking in front of them, not getting flagged with a gun, and there's a lot of times when Gabe would, my boy, where he would just come home crying, because I would just chew his rear end up one side and down the other because he pointed a gun at me. Well, you know what? He's got muzzle awareness now, and you don't do that no more. So, it's a family thing. It can be. Or you can just leave your family at home and go do it all by yourself. And I don't really know what the point of that is. I get to do it by myself now because my kids are grown and gone. I'm just waiting on grandkids. And when they get old enough, then hopefully I'll be able to retire and be stay-at-home papaw. That would be my dream job. So, unattended children will be given Red Bulls and taught to cuss. So we'll see. Not really. Well, maybe. Who knows? So we have a lot of things going on in the world right now. If you pick up the phone and look on news, or if you watch the news, man, there's a lot of stuff to be distracted by. But, you're still alive. You're still able. And no matter who is in charge, you are in charge of you. So, you control your happiness, not some government official, though they do try. Common sense has been squelched to the point to where we don't even hear it anymore. We don't even like it. It's hate speech. Just good common thinking. So it's kind of sorry, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna get off here. I haven't been on here in a while because, like I say, I had things to do. And get out in the woods and take your kids, take your grandkids, do what you can. Teach them, because if you don't teach them something, the world will, and the world will be far more merciless than you. The world will teach them things we don't want them to ever understand or know. And if you're too lazy to do something with your kids, then just be prepared for the consequences of the world raising your kids. It's pretty simple, actually. If you don't do it, the world will, and you ain't gonna like the outcome, and you're gonna be one of these parents standing at the police station wondering where they went wrong. Well, it started back then. So, anyway, I hope the people that follow the channel enjoy it, and I hope they get out and do something. I always say that, but I'm gonna be like a broken record, and I don't really care. But if you don't do something with your kids, then what's the point in having them? I don't understand that. But Anyway, get them out, teach them something, or the world will. Y'all have a good, blessed day.